and welcome back, Mixtapers. I, as always, am your host, Punky Bruiser. With me, as always, rocking his fine September duds over here. How we doing, Dylan Willoughby?
Oh, it's day 6 of Same Shirt September, and I don't smell terrible yet, and I'm excited. I'm feeling good tonight.
You should feel good. It's a new month. We're fresh, a couple weeks back from vacation, having a hell of a season so far. And tonight we are honored to have joining us, hailing from Detroit, Michigan. Another fucking Michigan band? All right. Mixtapers, make some noise for Alan Cassidy of the Black Dahlia Murder. How we doing?
Hey, good. It's good to be here.
Ooh, good to have you. Good to have you. Again, we are sorry about the lack of calico cats, specific calico cats. But we are working on that, and hopefully we'll have a fresh shipment there by the end of the interview.
Hey, thanks. And it's mostly just a contract, thing to make sure that or that people have read it. So, and I can tell that you guys just kind of skim. I mean, most of it was there, but like, I get it. It's tough.
We have Troubadour for these types of things because I'm a pretty busy guy. I really can't help it. And he was supposed to go over it and do his due diligence, but we're gonna talk about that later, aren't we, Troubadour? But we're not here to talk about Troubadour. We are here to talk about you. Couple of weeks ago, we happened to cross paths while on vacation in your great city of Detroit for our mutual friends of See You Next Tuesday. We're out there filming the homies. Got to hang out, which was an absolute blast. And I gotta say, my one complaint, and I gotta back up what Bandit said at the show, is no fucking RoboCop statue. Like,
dude,
what's up with that?
I know it's been an unfortunate thing. Like they've been trying to get this RoboCop statue done for years now, and I guess the guy who was designing it actually got cancer, which that sucks, and that delayed it by a number of years. And I don't remember all of I think it was that like they built it to a smaller scale than they wanted, and then afterward they were like, we're gonna want this about maybe like 3 feet taller, and it's just been in creation limbo forever. So I don't know when we're getting that, but I am also bummed about it.
Well, it was one of the things that I was really looking forward to on the trip, and then I realized that it wasn't actually there. And we weren't the only ones that were surprised. Everyone I've told that to back here in Maine, they're like, "Wait, there's no fucking RoboCop statue?" But we're not going to hold that against you. I don't think BDM has anything to do with that, so we're not going to hold that against you.
If we had anything to do with it, we would have thrown however much money was necessary to get it, put up. And just if anybody knows, send us the PayPal or whatever.
I think we could take it up like one step further, and I think that maybe like future video you do like a RoboCop video. Like that would be dope, But before we talk about videos, because I love pitching music video ideas all day long. It's one of my favorite things to do.
It's the theme of the
season.
season.
Like, let me tell you a great idea for.
Here's a good idea right here.
Yeah, you can tell the edibles are kicking in. But oops, sorry, buddy. What was that? Did you hear that chime? That was
I don't know. Huh?
Is that the Rapture? I'm still here, so that makes sense. Now, for our mixtapers that may not be familiar, Alan, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about the Black Dahlia murder.
I am in a Detroit-based melodic death metal band called the Black Dahlia Murder. I've been playing drums with them for about 10 years now, and played all over the world many times. Put out 4 albums with them so far, and I think this is going to be album number 5 with me, if I recall correctly. But yeah, just starting to get back out there again and resume what we do. And this year's been a little slow for us, but it's because we're finally about to record a new album, and then once 2024 hits, we're going to be definitely all over the place touring again. So we will be hopefully on your continent and within your countries and states very soon again.
That is exciting. I gotta say, Black Dahlia Murder's been hands down one of my favorite bands since high school. I think obviously it was the same thing for you beforehand. You were one of the later guys in. How old are you?
I'm 33.
Yeah, so like you joined as a very young man, and I'm sure to come into something that already had so much momentum must have been overwhelming in a lot of different ways, but in the most exciting ways too.
Yeah, it was like you said, I was a huge fan of the band before I got in. I heard about them through a bandmate's friend, and he had burned Unhallowed for my guitar player, and then he gave it to me. And it's funny because Trevor used to say, like, we're that band that introduced you to blast beats. And he's like, not wrong, because at that time, I didn't have a lot of friends that were super into like the more old school death metal shit, like Suffocation and, all the blast beat heavy bands, Cannibal Corpse and all that. So that was my first time hearing it. And the first 2 or 3 times I listened to that album, I was like, this is cool, but at the same time, blast beats are the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, it's not like, I don't know, like a drummer's type of like, I couldn't appreciate it as a drummer. Like, it seemed too simple to have like 2 hands doing a roll, but like move between 2 different cymbals and shit. But then after like that third listen, I was like, okay, I get it. It's like actually pretty intense, and this is really cool. And I loved like the dark melodies of like the riffs and everything that was in there. It basically gave to me like everything I was looking for metal at the time. And yeah, when I joined, it was like a cross between like being completely in disbelief and also freaking the fuck out, because it was like, oh wow, this is happening. I still can't believe it's happening, but it is happening, and now I have to like actually do this stuff. And I was like excited, but it was still just, man, everybody knows these songs, like who are fans of the band, who are coming to the shows, and like I can't screw this up, like and just having this opportunity to play with these guys, like that I literally like thought about in my head, like if I was gonna die of some terminal disease, like, and I gotta make a wish, like I would jam with these dudes, as a last request. But yeah, so it's been pretty crazy. I've finally settled into it after a number of years and feel like, okay, this is my band, and I'm doing this, and but it's still pretty surreal at times, to have like all the posters and the CDs and tour passes and stuff, and be like, yeah, I was there, I did that.
Because and like you said, you've gotten to go around the world multiple times, which is, a dream for any musician, to get out there, whatever you play, to see new places, try new food, meet new people, and then people that are just so passionate. And that's one of the things about Black Dahlia Murder fans of every state that I've seen y'all. The fans are always the same. They're some of the funnest, most upbeat, goofiest people that get it. They're there to have a good time, but they're also, I wouldn't say there's not a big crowd-killing crowd that comes with y'all, as compared to some other bands that bring a different following. I think the community associated to y'all is one of the best. And I've met my drummer that I had for years through, our mutual love of you guys, at a very small show in Brewer, Maine years ago, completely oversold, absolutely small, like VFW turned into a friggin' show, into a venue. It was fucking nuts. And that's when I knew, like, I really wanted to get into extreme music. I think I was like 18, 17. And I'd had some other little run-ins before that, but kind of more to mainstream shit, like, and nothing knocking like Slipknot and Mudvayne and the Deftones and things that were kind of my introductory band. It's like White Zombie and Fear Factory, bands like that. But I think like hearing like bands like Y'all and Converge and Botch and Glassjaw and bands like, it's like, oh shit, there's way more out there than what the radio has for extreme music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of I would say ultimately it's a blessing, but it also just can be an annoying curse that like we get lumped into, these like people are like, oh, it's deathcore, or like, oh, it's like metalcore, it's this and that it isn't, because I think like a lot of people like saw t-shirts and Hot Topic and stuff, and it was around the time that those bands were in Hot Topic and were a big deal. And I think like the subgenre sort of like branching was just kind of starting around that time. Like we were really, I think like metal was picking up, and there was new stuff that was like coming out all the time. And so it was like this mix of so many different styles of metal that you couldn't really totally keep it straight. But I mean, if you listen to it, just with any sort of like paying attention to it, you'd know that it's not, very characteristic of those genres. Like it has aspects, but I think everything kind of does. But either way, it really is awesome, because it's gotten us a lot of different fans and a lot of people who appreciate different music, but can all kind of like come together on Dahlia in a lot of different circles. And that was kind of the thing that I noticed, too, growing up, was that depending on what you were into, that was always mostly a commonality for people. And but yeah, like the like the dedication that the fans have to this band is very unlike, a lot of other bands of the time. And it's just crazy to see how diehard some of these fans are, and just how much they still care about the music all these years later, and just how it, really impacted them at an early point in their life. And it's pretty damn nuts to see, like, us drop like merch bundles, whether it's like for a tour or for album anniversary release or something, and that shit's bought up in literally seconds, after being available. So big thank you to all those people, and just, happy that we can unite the metal subgenre worlds, and also thank you for, appreciating what we do still.
Well, I think the earnestness is there. I think when a band has been around as long as Dahlia has been, I think if it was for the wrong reasons or not authentic as like other bands out there, but they do it for ego, notoriety, and one thing that's always been apparent is that it's always been for the love of the music, and it's true. And I think that's why all of us, to all these years later, nearly 20 years of following a band, that we will still come out every single time, because it's that personal connection, it's that earnestness behind the music, and that, like you said, it appeals to so many of the different subgenres. Let it be if you're on the more extreme side, like the Cannibal Corpse side, or if you're a punk but you also smoke a lot of weed and you're like, oh, it's the stoner crowds into it as well. And then the people, you got the the guitar aficionados that are just drooling over Brandon Ryan, just fucking shredding face all day. I mean, huge influence on my style, but like I said, I think it's the earnestness and why we keep coming back, because there's only one Dahlia. There's a lot of bands that have truly tried to kind of match that, but I think there's only one Black Dahlia Murder, and it's honestly it's exciting to see y'all come back after everything.
Well, thank you. It's awesome that we have this opportunity to do it as well, and it's just when everything happened with Trevor passing, it was kind of a situation of like, man, how do we make this work, and what are we considering doing, like, and then once we like had the idea of like Brian doing vocals, which was his idea, but it really felt a lot more natural to get him to step up and do this versus getting any outsider. And of course, like when he brought up the vocal thing, then he also brought up asking Ryan to join again. And I was just like, wow, to me, like I said, as a longtime fan of this band and stuff, that just was such a, I felt like great idea, and it immediately excited me. But then it's kind of like taking all those steps and all those decisions and seeing where or what the reaction is from everybody else. And every step of the way, it was super positive. It was just, we'd tell other people and they were excited. And then we would, and then we finally, broke the news via Decibel. We had like a cover story and everything on that, and everybody was really supportive. And they were like, we're going to be at these shows and stuff. And, not to sound like a cynical asshole or anything, but it's kind of like you hear those things and you're like, that's great. Sounds like, people are very excited and supportive about it. But like, what are those shows going to look like when we go back out? Is it really going to be what we hope it'll be? And it's not just all talk and everything. And we just did that first tour again back in April and like mid-April into May. And oh my God, the reaction in the sport was just, right in line with what, we were hearing and everything. And it made us feel like just so happy and confident and like reassured that, this was the right thing and that people really do care and they do, want to support us. And again, we all just, we love music and this is what we love doing. And the band, what we write and everything is very much like what we appreciate and what we want to keep doing. So it's just amazing that we, can keep this going and people are, in agreement to, like it.
Oh, absolutely. And I know so many of us, we didn't know what the music industry was going to be like after COVID. I know Dylan, being an artist in multiple different projects and solo projects, it was hard to navigate that first coming back. Didn't know what and any of us were coming back to. So that anxiety alone, nevertheless, having to say goodbye to a dear friend in combination, it's not easy. But it's good that like I said, the community was there and stepped in, and it's absolutely apparent over those month and a half of dates that you were out there. But they came back, tenfold. And then they're gonna hear as it's September 6th here as we're in the future. And this weekend you head out on the road. You are heading to the Blue Ridge Rock Fest with like an insane amount of fucking bands on there. It's like absolutely nuts, that festival that you guys are playing. It's stacked. It's absolutely stacked. I mean, for one of the big notable ones on there, but I fucking wish I could make it down for, is the friggin' return of Job for a Cowboy.
Oh,
just absolutely nuts, man. Like, that's got to be a set definitely worth checking out there at the show.
Yeah, I think that is going to be pretty cool. I'm interested to see if they're planning on continuing beyond that. I feel like they probably would. It seems a little strange to just come out of
for
nowhere
one show?
for one show.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, but it's as far as that lineup and everything, man, it looks like a European festival, and it's like stuff that we don't really have here in the States. Like we've come close to it. We've had things similar to that, but I think that on this scale too, like how big of a festival it is, with all these bands and stuff, it's going to be really cool to get a chance to play something of that size here. So looking forward to that, and doing the New England Metal Hardcore Fest as well.
Yes, it's back. New
Yeah.
England Metal and Hardcore Fest is back. Now, Dylan's trying to figure out if able to make it out.
I would like to find a way.
Like to find a way to be able to make it out, but I'm excited. One of my favorite festivals here in the Northeast at the Worcester Palladium. It's Saturday, September 16th. And that lineup is stupid as well. You got Lamb of God. You have Darkest Hour. You get Despised Icon, which is going to be friggin' nuts. You get 200 Stab Wounds. I mean, it's so many heavy hitters on that day. I know I'm easily overthinking them, but it's Fit for an Autopsy, which, goddamn, also another phenomenal band. It's going to be a good time. It is outdoors, which should be interesting. I've been to a handful of outside Palladium shows, so I'm curious to see how they're going to do it with a show this big, because there's a lot of fucking bands playing on Saturday.
A lot of big bands.
Yeah, I've only seen one show there so far. Like when we, I think it was the 2021 tour that we did. There was a country band playing outside next door, and that was the first time I had seen them doing anything out there. And that parking lot has a lot of room for a lot of people. So I think not really sure if they're planning on doing dual stages or whatever to try and flip back and forth between it, but it seems like it'll be cool. And I'm always wearing like in-ears, so the sound is always the same to me. So as far as anything on that, I hope it's good for everybody else, but it won't bother me.
The outside sound is killer. I didn't know it was going to be the last Every Time I Die show, but I saw them there on the outside recently, about a year and a half ago. I saw No Effects there last year, and the sound was absolutely killer. So if you're going to the show, you're definitely going to have a absolute hell of a time.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure those in-ears are probably life-changing too, because like I know playing outdoors without in-ears, everything just sounds like shit if you're on stage. Like I just have accepted it, like, all right, it sounds like shit, I'm just gonna hope it sounds great for everyone else because I'm just going. But as a bassist, it's not, as long as I can hear the hi-hat, I'm good. That's all I need. So drummer, in-ears, that's very helpful.
Yeah, definitely. It's weird to like hit a drum or pretty much hit a drum and then have the sound just go like poof, it's like gone. It's out there, it's disappeared, and there's nowhere for it to like bounce back to you.
You need that, especially in metal. I mean, some people might not, but you gotta feel that body. I'm excited. It's gonna be my first time seeing you all since the pandemic and everything, and I'm super excited about it. But I kind of want to like back up a little bit, kind of when we talked about when you would come in to the band. I wanted to ask, because I mentioned earlier, there was such a catalog beforehand. Were there any tracks in particular that you just found daunting to, that were just so near and dear to Dahlia fans that you were like, man, I really got to get this fucking track right?
I would say for sure, Malenchantments of the Necrosphere. Like that might have not been, a super fan favorite because it was from Ritual, which had come out like in 2011, and I was on this tour, my first tour with them in October of 2012. So people were still settling into that, but that is a super complex song to play, and it's one of those like, if you screw this up, like it's really gonna throw everyone else off. And and then just the level of that tour with it was Death Clock, All That Remains, Machine Head, and us, and so it was just like, oh my God, this is in front of like so many people, but on top of that, so many huge bands and everything. And so I think that song in particular was probably one of the really daunting ones. And other than that, it was, I don't know, it was like in the audition process, it got a little bit weird just because I was in my own head. It was such a huge opportunity for me that even like simplistic things, it just kind of became like a bigger challenge than it really was. But like I said, there was times where I was in disbelief and other times that I was like, okay, I'm here, I'm doing this is awesome. But it was kind of like the blinders would go on and I'd do it and then they'd come off and I'd be like, I don't know how that just happened or why like it became so complicated or something. But, just kind of settling in and everything made it a lot smoother. And I actually had to learn Statutory Ape literally hours before one of our shows because Machine Head had dropped off the show for like a day or two so Rob could go get hernia mesh surgery. Ooh. And yeah, so we had to play a longer set that night and they were like, do you know anything else? And I was like, no, because I've just been focusing on what you had me do for the auditions and just keeping that straight. They were like, well, is there like anything you could possibly do? And for some reason I chose Statutory, and it's not even like a song that I listened to a shitload or that was like one of my ultimate favorites or anything. It was just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like for some reason I kind of know this. And yeah, I learned it a few hours before the show, got up there and played it. No train wrecks, no like weird, things. And that was like a holy shit, I can't believe I did that moment.
God damn.
It's always so rewarding when you can like crunch time learn a song like that. Like I've had times when like learn a 50 song set in a week and you're like, all right, let's go. Like that kind of stuff is always, it's so rewarding when you can get up there and be like, yeah, I did it. We made it. It's good. I accomplished my goal.
Right. I didn't even believe that I could do it. I honestly thought but it was kind of one of those like, well, what do I have to lose? I mean, I can't be expected to be like, perfect with this, but I think that level of kind of, well, let's just see how it goes, like really lended, some success to it. So
it can't be any worse, right?
Exactly.
Feel through it.
Yeah.
just keep playing, just keep blasting, and then, you'll get through it,
Yeah. Eventually it'll just be duka, and it's not wrong,
Just keep up that momentum. You'll be fine. And hopefully, you don't have a bunch of dirty looks throughout it. So you'll be fine.
Right.
Oh, man. Now, is there, you've been on 4 albums so far. Is there anything from the old catalog that's like one of your fan favorites to play that you were just fucking stoked to be able to sit there and kind of be in awe and be like, yep, this is really fucking happening right now?
Oh, dude, easily Unhallowed. Like, we got to do the Unhallowed, I think it was almost 10-year anniversary, or maybe it was slightly over 10 years. I think it was over, but yeah, that album, like I said, it was one of those things that I was so into growing up and really like pushed me into like a lot more extreme death metal and stuff, and just listened to it a bazillion times, and then just getting to play all those songs with them and kind of like throw in a little bit of my own stuff was really amazing. And there's been, some Miasma tracks, like it's mainly just kind of the standards, but we did play I'm Charming, which is a deep cut that we don't really do, but like getting to play Miasma, getting to play Statutory, those were awesome. And yeah, and then I've gotten to do, all of Nocturnal, and we've done, yeah, I guess those are all like the older catalog ones, but I would say, I've done a good chunk of the old stuff so far, and there's still songs that I would love to do in the future, like Flies off of Miasma, or Christ Deformed from Deflorate, and then we just recently got to play Carbonized and Cruciform from Ritual for the first time on this last album. That was really awesome. So yeah, I'm hoping that as we get a little bit further in the future, that we'll be able to break out some of those deep cuts that I really like.
Hell yeah. Definitely looking forward to it. And before we part ways, you had mentioned your 5th Dahlia album, expecting 2024. Is there anything you could tell us a little bit about that before we part ways?
Maybe some spoilers.
Yeah,
there's
Dylan loves spoilers.
there's
Never
guitars.
gonna fucking let that down.
Yeah, right. Hey, I was only like what, five episodes away or something from that, but I kept waiting. Backstory: I got a key point blown for me in The Sopranos before I actually got to the episode, but by these guys. But
it was all me. I'll take the blame.
I've never actually watched The Sopranos.
It was such a it felt like when it happened, it was kind of oh fuck, that happened, but it wasn't a huge thing. It
was lame though, wasn't it? It was a lame death. He needed to go out in a blaze of glory, man. Like,
right. I mean, shit. Hey. Sorry.
See, they disagree too.
Yeah, right. But anyway, so the
new
album,
yeah.
it's got guitars, it's got drums. We're gonna have vocals. It's
love it.
It's gonna be metal. I mean, at this point, there's not a whole lot to say other than it's just cool to have like Ryan back in the mix writing again, and having of course Brandon continue to write with us, and then Brian is also doing a handful of songs, and so it's basically like 3, 3, and 3. We're gonna have each one of those guys do 3 songs, and then might have like another 1 or 2 from select people or something, just to kind of like maybe get some bonus tracks or just some options or something. But we are closing in on the recording time. I'm gonna go into the studio in the beginning of November and start laying down the drums, and so like just hearing what Ryan has done, and just kind of like hearing what he has to offer, and from like he's been gone for I think like about 7 years or something, and have him come back and just kind of like hear what's been in his head, or like what he's leaning towards writing and whatnot. It's been really exciting. And of course, every album, as we write stuff, it doesn't always have to do with the like content of the album. It's kind of like just what the writers are feeling at the time. And so we don't necessarily try to make the most like cohesive thing, but I think there's a little bit of thought in there, somewhat, but it's mostly like, I want to write what I'm feeling and what I think is cool. And so I think, there's going to be like some more like stretching of the box that we're in, that like I think most people have come to kind of realize at this point. And it's given us, the material so far has given us a lot of different interesting stuff to offer and to write to and everything. And so I think like it's going to be cool with the diversity once again of this album. And I'm really excited. And I think that it's a good thing, to have that, because we can't just be writing, the same album constantly. And
growth is important.
Yeah, exactly. So it really allows us to get more creative and just kind of be excited about writing constantly, seeing what we come up with and all that.
That's gonna be so fucking awesome to hear, with fucking Brandon, Brian, like writing, like just the 3 of them writing guitars on there. My God, as a fucking fan, I'm fucking so goddamn excited for all this. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be really good. But we're patient, so you guys do your thing, and then when you all, bust out for 2024, we're going to be right there, right up front, screaming our face off, as we have been for the last 20 years. Alan, this has been a blast, man. I want to thank you so much for coming to hang out tonight. Like I said, Mixtapers, if you're in Virginia this September 8th, Blue Ridge Rock Festival, so many amazing bands. You've got what are you going out for a week, a little over a week? It's like the 8th to the 16th, or do you have anything?
Just 8 days.
So you're ending with Metal Fest.
Yeah, that'll be it. And then we just kind of go home, finish writing, and me getting everything learned and ready to go, and then we'll hopefully wrap this album with everybody by I don't know, maybe like beginning of December. That's what we're hoping. So should get it put together pretty quick here, I think.
Well, we're excited to see what happens next. I'm gonna have to chat your ear off about all my stoner ideas for music videos, but we can talk about that when we hang out, because it's gonna be a long day. Looking forward to seeing you here soon. Mixtapers, please make some noise for our featured guest of the week, Alan Cassidy of the Black Dahlia Murder. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Dude, it's been an absolute blast. And like I said, Mixtapers, check their website, links down below. See them on this little mini run before they take a little holiday break to work on their next album. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.